They supplied it, so let me put this down. What a thrill to be introduced by Leslie Visser, who every woman in sports owes Leslie, because she was one of the great pioneers we go back a long way together, and it's really an honor to have her as the person introducing me. I also need to mention that Ken Agard and his work for the charity that this dinner funds. Ken has been just an enormous influence in our industry, and I have just so much enormous respect for him and his work. Being honored here tonight by my colleagues in sports broadcasting is truly a humbling experience. When you look at the giants in our industry who have already been inducted in the Hall of Fame, and the incredible talents of my fellow honorees that I unfortunately have to follow or precede, Bob Costas, Dick Vitale are still waiting to come up. Jim Nance, Mary Carrillo, my goodness, how do you match or keep the audience entertained after hearing their stories? I'm grateful to be with you here tonight. That 4-minute video produced by Brett Belson is a tough act to follow as well. And I know you're going to hear more great stories and more great videos, so let me enjoy my brief moment in the spotlight, tell a quick bedtime tale. I'm getting to that. Thank SVG, recognize my assembled family who are here tonight, and keep the line moving, because my training as an executive and as president of CBS Sports tells me we're looking at overrun. And the next call I get is from the president of the network saying, when the hell are you getting off the air? We'd hear from 60 Minutes on Sunday night. Don Hewitt would call and say, when's this game going to be over? I say, Don, for Christ's sake, you're watching the same game I am. It'll be over when it's over. And we're going to deliver a 25 rating to you, so shut up and watch the game and enjoy it. Once upon a time, many, many years ago, only 3 networks roamed the land. If you wanted to get your sports event on national television, you had to knock on the door and grovel at ABC Sports, the alpha dog, or beg at NBC, the wannabe alpha dog, or reluctantly come to CBS, the hungry puppy. While CBS was #1 in entertainment and news, we were a sorry third in sports. And this may be a huge surprise to everyone in this room under 40, and there are some of you here. There were no other options besides the 3 networks. No Fox, no ESPN, no sports cable networks, no regional sports channels, no internet, no mobile phones, no computers. Parenthetically, you young folks might ask, how did we survive? How did you do business? We actually talked to each other. We used the landline phone, which, by the way, no one could listen into without a warrant, unlike today. We sent letters and faxes and internal memos. We even left voice messages for each other, and we managed quite well. My charge when I joined CBS in 1976 was to help turn the sports division around, and with an enormous amount of help. And I know so many of you have named so many people who worked with us when we stand up here on the podium. But certainly Barry Frank, who was the head of sports when I joined CBS, was a mentor, and I learned a great deal from him. But over 20 years, with people like Ted Shaker, Kevin O'Malley, Rick Gentile, Jay Rosenstein, Ray Harmon, Len DeLuca, I cannot name all of the people at CBS. I can't forget Frank Chirkinian, who so many of you consider perhaps the genius in televising golf here in the U.S. We already had some serious sports. We had the NFL, we had the NBA, we had the PGA Tour, and as mentioned in the film, we went and poached the Daytona 500 and several NASCAR races from ABC. It's an interesting story there. Ken Squire and Barry Frank and I, we had information via Ken's work with the NCAA that Bill France Jr. had a vision of televising the Daytona 500 live, flag to flag, start to finish. It had never been done before. We went down, we told Bill that as long as he didn't take our offer back to ABC, we would be prepared to do that. We would take the risk of weather, the risk of ratings, the risk that this sport had never been seen on television in its entirety. And we got lucky. It rained that morning, but Bill Sr., and those of you who are deep in the business, Bill went up on the tower and commanded it to stop raining. It did. We got the race in, and then it rained for 3 more days. And what I didn't know at the time is my career was on the line with that event, because as it was raining, Gene Jankowski, the president of the network, said to me, Neal, we don't have to pay for this race if it rains out, do we? I said, Gene, not only do we have to pay for it, we have to run it on Monday if it gets delayed. So our mantra was to go for events. At the time, I hadn't yet become president of the division, but we secured the NCAA basketball tournament from my good friends at NBC. We took a strong position in college football and basketball. I can claim credit for really one event. I said to my compadres, let's get the Army-Navy game. I've watched that since I was a kid. Blanchard and Davis, Arnold Galiffa. These are names back in the 40s. There aren't too many folks who are gonna recognize them. And we did. We got the Army-Navy game. We got Miami. We got the Pac-10, Big Ten. We acquired the PGA Championship, 4 years of Major League Baseball, and I know Dick Ebersol is sitting there and saying, yeah, but you lost a lot of money on it. And we did. What we didn't lose money on, even though Dick's predecessor, Art Watson, predicted we didn't lose money on the 3 Winter Olympic Games. And we got lucky. We bought Albertville, we bought Lillehammer and Nagano. And thinking back to the Lillehammer Games, imagine this, we averaged a 27 rating over 16 nights for the Winter Games. Of course, we had some help with the figure skating issues that you all recall. But our 2 figure skating ratings were 44 and 48, and those are Super Bowl numbers. Today, under the really astute leadership of Sean McManus, CBS is no longer the hungry puppy. So I'm here tonight standing on the shoulders of all of the talented men and women of CBS who worked to grow the sports division over the past 40 years. And it is to them that I offer my thanks and gratitude. And also my love and thanks to Frida, my wife and partner since 1962. If you do the math, that's, 56 years. She had the roof fixed and the water heater replaced and the car repaired and walked the dog and fed the 3 kids. Well, I was in Los Angeles or London, wherever, but not at home. We're blessed with multiple grandchildren, and they're here tonight as well, except for one. Granddaughter Gabriella is watching us in Scotland, so a shout out to Gabriella. Speaking of children, I could not be more proud of the success of the March of Dimes Sports Luncheon, which celebrated its 35th year just 2 weeks ago, right here in this building. I'm indebted to Sean for his selfless leadership since 1997, and to the community of New York sports executives who support that celebration every year. One historical footnote: our very first luncheon in this building, Howard Cosell was our master of ceremonies. Howard roasted every guest we had at the luncheon. We ran an hour long, beyond our 2 o'clock time period, as I'm afraid we may do tonight. And to him, I give thanks for getting us on the road with that wonderful luncheon. I also note, I believe his grandson, Colin, has done the voiceovers for our live introductions this evening. So to the Cosell family, my thanks. Howard here, and Colin somewhere in the back. As many of you already know, and many of you will no doubt experience, life does not end when you leave the networks. In fact, the freedom to create your own destiny and build your own business is exhilarating. I started Pilson Communications the day after I left CBS, and I've been gone now from BlackRock for 23 years, longer than my actual tenure there. My very first client was Bill Jr. Bill said, "Hey, Neal, you've been holding out on me for 10, 15 years. Let's go back to CBS and get some of the money that you've been holding in your pocket." And I was allowed to do that. I didn't have a non-compete clause. It was all okay. My second major client was Arena Football. And I'm so pleased that the commissioner, former commissioner of the Arena League, who I worked with very closely, Dave Baker, is here tonight. He came a long way. As did two of my business partners, Mike Henry and Barry Switzer. Were in business in Oklahoma, and they came up, flew up tonight to be here with us. I also enjoy teaching at Columbia. Actually, this will be my 11th year in January, and I have a mini career in local government, both of which serve as vehicles to give back and to continue to grow. I'm going to move quickly through, I had some prepared remarks, but I can appreciate there are others to follow. My final note is a serious one. In this sadly divided and angry country that we live in today, sports in America has become common ground. It's a gathering place where we can join together, even for a brief period of time, and seek fellowship in the support of our favorite team, school, sport, or event. It doesn't matter what cap you're wearing. What matters is you're there in a common bond. You're there to attend or watch the sports events that we in this room produce. Our band of brothers and sisters have the responsibility to present and keep sports as that very special place where the issues that separate us are put aside. And I'm proud to say we are doing that job very well indeed. My appreciation to the Sports Video Group, their wonderful charity, and my thanks to you, the industry, for honoring me this evening. Thank you.